How are you? Welcome to the Blues Matters chat.
Good to be here. And I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I hope it's okay that I'm doing this on my phone for whatever reason. Neither my
Yeah.
desktop or my
Riverside.
laptop will let me
Okay,
do it. So I hope you can.
Riverside can clean it up anyway, so that's cool.
Okay, cool,
So
cool.
where are you speaking from right now?
I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Lovely. It's a
Yep,
place
I'm
that's
at
on
home.
our bucket list.
Right on. Well, I hope you get here, man. I moved here back at the beginning of October. And I love this town. So I moved down here from my hometown, Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and just been really enjoying being here.
Was that a musical decision to move down to New Orleans because of
Yeah,
the music situation down there?
yeah, definitely. I mean, and I had some friends down here already who are musicians, been living here a long time. And, I mean, I love my hometown. North central Pennsylvania is beautiful. Williamsport is this cool little pocket of culture in sort of rural Pennsylvania. And, it certainly did a lot for me being from there and living there. And, I've gotten to go on the road a lot, but I was just kind of looking for a change of pace and something different and be around the opportunity to be around even more creative people and artists and musicians and, stuff like that. And I don't know, I've loved New Orleans music since I was a little kid. And I started to visit a couple years ago, and I just fell in love with the place. I mean, it was everything I thought it would be and more. So I kind of knew the first time I came here, like, oh, this is
Yeah,
this
that's
could be
that's
where
one
I
of the
belong.
reasons I would love to visit. Yeah, it's a gumbo of music, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a great way to put it. I mean, all the jazz, all the
It's
brass band music. Yes, sir.
cool. So when did you start playing music or listening to taking music seriously as a career?
Well, I started playing guitar. I started playing music in grade school, like third grade. I picked up a saxophone. That was my first instrument, and then the guitar came along later. I was about 10 years old, and I got involved at a music school in my hometown called the Uptown Music Collective, and taking lessons there. And I wanted to play rock music. I was listening to like AC/DC and Metallica, Led Zeppelin, all that stuff, and I wanted to play guitar like that. I really just wanted to be Angus Young. Like I had seen the movie School of Rock and Jack Black in that movie, and like all the kids were around my age, and like I thought they were really cool, and I was like, oh man, maybe if I could do that, I'll be cool or something like that. I'm still pretty uncool, but that's okay. I love music now way more than I like being cool. But
You're a musician, so you're naturally cool.
hey, what is cool, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I suppose Angus is pretty cool.
Angus, I will say is cool. Anyway, I couldn't do any of that kind of guitar playing as a kid, but I had cool teachers who explained to me that what those guys, Angus and Jimmy Page and all that, what they're doing is just playing the blues, but on steroids, right? And so, I couldn't play anything on the guitar that sounded like music. And then my teacher showed me these little 3-note blues licks, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear this on the video, but I remember like just little things like this where you bend the string,
Yeah, I can hear that.
and I could sort of kind of do it. And my teacher would play like a behind it, and I would just sit there and go, and I was just amazed that I could finally play something on the guitar that sounded like music. So then, like, I dived really heavy into blues and got enough, I guess, good enough at it that they had me starting to do it in front of an audience, and I started to do it in front of an audience, and I got like that reaction and that approval that I had been searching for, and I it found me, and I had the opportunity from being a student there throughout my time in high school to play a lot of do a lot of performing. And after high school, I went to Berklee College of Music, got my degree. I went to Berkeley for 2.5 years. I just kind of stayed through, did summer semesters and stuff, and moved back to Williamsport and started my own band, and have really been doing that ever since. So that was 11 years ago that I got started professionally. I turned,
Professionally,
yeah,
yeah.
I, I was 19 when I graduated Berkeley, and I turned 30 this past July.
So you've had like 10 years grassroots learning your craft, learning your trade.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really say that like going to music school and all of that stuff, it taught me a lot, but I don't think that I learned about what it is to be a musician until I got out there and started doing it. And, in the last 11 years, I've gotten the biggest education just by being on the scene and hitting the road. And it's like one of those things, there's no way to know how it's done until you go and do it. And um I'm just grateful for all of the opportunities that I've had. When I started professionally at 19, I was pretty much just like a local and regional artist for the first like 5 years. And then 2019, my band and I competed at the International Blues Challenge, and we made it to the finals, and I won the award for best guitar player, the Gibson Guitar Award or whatever. I personally don't think I was the best guitar player there. The judges,
So somebody obviously did.
somebody
Somebody
did.
obviously did.
And so, I went from, kind of like only people in central Pennsylvania and a little bit in upstate New York knowing who I was to a lot more people knowing who I was. And at that point, I was also teaching lessons at the Uptown Music Collective in my hometown. And I left that teaching job at the beginning of 2020 because I was going to be on the road a lot. And then the pandemic happened. But I'm really glad that the pandemic happened. I wrote my first record, Just Say the Word, and that came out. It did really well. It got nominated for a Blues Music Award. That was back in 2021, and I've kind of just been on the road with that record ever since. It's been, I'm really, really so honored and excited to be working with Gulf Coast on this next release and finally getting new music out to the fans, because 5 years is like way too long. I, in my opinion, for people to wait for new music from me. But I had to stuff, life happens, and there were reasons for the delay, but I'm excited that all that's done and over with, and it's finally coming out.
Yeah, well, I listened to the album. I thought it was great.
Thank you.
Whether it's 5 years or, but it's been well worth the wait, seriously. I
Seriously,
wouldn't just say that, because you're here. If it's not really for me, I would see, I'd just go, "Well, yeah, it's okay." But no, I think it's a great album. I think it's a
thank
great album. So, so how
means a
did you
lot.
become involved with Gulf Coast Records? How did that partnership happen?
Sorry to all those watching this. Anyway, I think I had been in touch with, obviously, I've known other artists that are on the label and all had really positive experiences. Billy Price put out 2 records with Gulf Coast. He's a local Pennsylvania guy from Pittsburgh and a dear friend of mine. My friend Jason Ricci is a Gulf Coast artist, and I've gotten to know Mike Zito and Albert Castilla through just being on the scene, and I had been sending this record to Mike for a little while, and then I think it was at the BMAs last year. Ollie Overton, who sort of is the guy doing all of the all
He's the main guy, Ollie.
he's a workhorse, man.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy as well.
Wonderful cat, man. He saw me play in Memphis, and we got introduced, I think, by Albert, and had a conversation a few weeks later, and he liked the record, and it just all kind of seemed to fall into place. Very little had anything to do with me, it seems.
Well,
And just
let other
like,
people do, let other people do the background stuff.
huh?
That takes a lot of weight off your shoulders, I would imagine, and you can concentrate on just writing and playing.
Well, that's really where I like to concentrate. But in today's music world, I don't think it hurts to have as much knowledge of what's going on in the music business. And to be able to wear a couple different hats.
Yeah.
So I try my best. I'm still learning.
Well,
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Got my whole life to
exactly, exactly, and as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day,
Yeah. Yeah,
each
man,
everything you
I'm just
do is a learning curve. Every
yeah.
album will be a learning curve.
Right. Yeah, man. And like, like I said earlier, a lot of things in life, there's no way to know until you get out there and you just do it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. Are you really happy with the way the album's turned out?
I am, the songs. So I recorded it. It'll be 3 years in March since the record was tracked, and I think the songs have held up over the last 3 years in terms of things that I've had, going on in my life, and they're certainly very much about the place I was in at the time. And I think they're very true to the essence of blues music, which for me is, if blues is anything, it's very honest music and got to be rooted, spiritually in the things that we all go through. I mean, it's really like the essence of blues is just the expression of humanity. What it feels like to fall in love and what it feels like to fall out of love and what it feels like to not love yourself so much sometimes, what it feels like to lose things and to grieve and all of that stuff that we all experience and can relate to, and that's what the blues and soul music really is what I kind of label all of it under. I mean, I think as artists, and as a songwriter, what I'm trying to do is move people because that's what my favorite music does for me.
Absolutely.
The only way that I can do that is to try to tap into that thing. This record, I think, has some great songs on it that were recorded very well. I was really glad that I got to work with Anson Funderburg as a producer on it. He produced my first record too, and we had such a wonderful time that you know I just thought, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's go do it again. The guys who played on it all did a phenomenal job, and the tracks came out sounding great. And of course, I always have my inner self critic, like I think any artist has, about things that I think I sing better now 3 years later, or that I would play differently 3 years later. But all I can encourage people to do is come out to the shows and because it's music is always evolving. Like the record is a snapshot of where an artist is at that time, right? I mean,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
if you were to go see the Rolling Stones today, they don't play, Sympathy for the Devil the way they played it when they were in their 20s. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I
It's still great, Eric Clapton doesn't play and sing the same way that he did back in the 70s and 80s, but it's still great. Uh, that's what uh I think is so cool about putting out records. It's like, you have this snapshot and then you go see somebody live and then, and I think the what really is great about this batch of songs is that they hold up on the record and they hold up on stage in front of an audience as well.
absolutely. I mean, I've always thought basically the same. With each album, you will evolve because your life will change from when you were 30, like now, to when you were 40. You will have gone through so many life changes and experiences. So it's not going to be exactly the same. You can't bring the 40-year-old Gabe Stillman into a 30-year-old Gabe Stillman. Then,
Right.
can you? You
Oh.
Because you
Yeah.
have all these experiences that will shape how you write and how you play.
Yeah, and I'm not ever going to, write a song for the sake of writing a song or write a song for the sake of like trying to get a hit or something like that. The inspiration strikes when it strikes and I
Yeah,
try to write about what's going on with me right now. Yeah. And like I said, with honesty and sincerity and as much creativity as I can bring to it. And that's really what if I look back at my favorite songwriters and my favorite musicians, that's what they've always done. I mean, and I'm not gonna write songs about the same things that Willie Dixon wrote songs about. I'm not Willie Dixon.
exactly, and that's a different time altogether. The world
Yeah.
is not like the world is not the same as when Willie Dixon was writing songs,
Right.
unfortunately, you know.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah, man.
So, who are your heroes of writing and playing, apart from, like, Angus and, people like that, who really turn you on musically?
I mean, it's all over the map, I mean, of course, like, being a blues head, like Muddy Waters and Willie Dixon and, the poetry of Willie Dixon's writing and the wonderful double entendre and metaphors that are in a lot of those classic blues tunes, are just beautiful and, something that, I aspire to, bring some of that into contemporary times and, subjects and themes that are relevant.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, I love BB King and Albert King and Freddie King and all of that. Sean Costello was a huge influence on me. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
I never got to see him live, but I've just, for the last probably 15 years, just loved that dude's music and his records. And, I've spent many, many nights on YouTube and, watching him as well as all my other heroes. And, I mean, some of the great singers, of course, Ray Charles and Otis Redding, I've been really fortunate for the last year and a half. I got to tour and play with one of my contemporary heroes, John Namath,
I know
who
John, yeah, I've met John a couple of times, yeah.
I've just always thought that what John does is so cool and unique and honest and, singular. Like there is one John Namath, he does his thing, man. And I aspire to that. There's another great singer, harmonica player, songwriter who I really look up to and have gotten to spend some time with. He actually played some harmonica on my first record. He lives in Spain now, but he was in Austin, Texas for a long time. His name is Greg Izor, and I'm always down to plug him. These guys, the Nighthawks, were
Yeah.
wonderful. Mark Wenner's been a wonderful friend. I met him for the first time when I was 18 and would have me come and open up for him, and he introduced me to people in the DC music scene and helped me expand beyond just my small hometown bubble of Williamsport, Pennsylvania and playing around there. Yeah, there's so many. I mean, growing up, I was really big into like the band and still am.
Me too. Yeah, me too, in a huge way.
Bruce Springsteen, huge influence. Tom Waits, another huge influence. And then like those guys were like pivotal in like the decision to like not just be a guitar player, but to be a songwriter and express myself that way, and try to be, I don't know, if I could be half as good at writing songs as those dudes, man.
Yeah, yeah, so say we all. You just mentioned the band. They're one of the greatest musical outfits of all time, in my opinion. They were
Yeah.
just so, so good, each and every one of them. But yeah, you all your contemporary heroes are top-notch people, top-notch artists, so something's gonna rub off, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, there's people out there today. There's this dude in Atlanta named Cody Matlock who just like blows my mind how good that dude is, man. Look up to him so much. Guys who have been out on the scene doing it a long time, obviously like Mike, Zito, Albert Castilla. I love Damon Fowler's thing and what he does, and it's just like really a privilege to like get to be around these guys. And another huge education that I've gotten, um, by just being, a touring musician, I've gotten to do a few of those legendary rhythm and blues cruises, and Mr. Stipp hosts the after jam on those into the wee hours of the morning, and
Yeah.
he comes, him and his music, the guys in his band, they all come from the southern, gospel church tradition. And it's just like one of the best educations that I can get every time I've gotten to jam with those guys.
I was lucky enough to be on the Mediterranean one. We got invited, the magazine got invited 3 years ago. So we did the
Cool.
Mediterranean, the Bonamassa. Blues Cruise, and yeah, that was so cool to be invited and to cover as a magazine, and you get to meet all these people, and but it was just I was seeing bands I'd never seen before, and
Yeah.
then when you get the All Star Jam towards the end, you're thinking I should be watching this on YouTube. I'm standing like 10 feet away from these guys.
Right. Yeah. Those gigs are so cool, man, because oftentimes, like, on the road, like, even at like a festival, like, you get up on stage, you play your set, and then it's like back in the van, hotel, we got a
Yeah,
9-hour drive tomorrow, and you don't really get to like hang out with anybody. So it's always great to like, those gigs, you're on a boat with everybody for a week,
mm,
and the hangs are pretty incredible. And another great time for that is like the Blues Music Awards in Memphis every year. Another
yeah.
just great opportunity to actually like get to see folks and say hi, and instead of a quick hi bye.
Yeah, 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 get to spend a little time. One of the tracks on the album that I wasn't really expecting, and when I saw it, I thought, "This can't be the same one." Why did you pick "Gentle on My Mind"? Don't get me wrong, I think Glenn Campbell's an exceptionally talented songwriter and a great guitar player, and I love a lot of his stuff. So how come you chose "Gentle on My Mind"?
Well, just real so that song was written by John Hartford, and
Right.
Glenn Campbell is the guy who had, I think, the first hit with it. And then of course over the years so many people have recorded that song. I just love that song. It's probably in my top 5 favorite songs that have ever been written. I think that the lyrics are gorgeous, the melody's gorgeous, the chord progression's gorgeous, and it fit thematically with what I thought this record is about. It's a song that means a lot to me.
Good choice. Good choice of song, man.
Thank you. And I thought that
And a great rendition. It's not easy to cover songs like that.
yeah, yeah. Well, and any time that I'm taking somebody else's song, whether it's like a classic song that everybody's gonna recognize, or if it's something obscure, I'm still gonna try to put my own spin on it, and work with the guys in my band to come up with, hey, what can we do to make this, something special, you know, as if like a song like "Gentle on My Mind" isn't already special enough. But, I think that, the groove that the fellas came up with in the studio, uh, was just really, really cool, and to have, Kaz Kazanoff come in and lay down some sax on it, just kinda took the song to this other place. With I think a song is good when you can do things like that. And that song, I mean, gosh, you could probably like put a bunch of electronic, sample beats, or something like that, and do a version of Gentle on My Mind, and it'll still be so meaningful because the melody's so gorgeous and the lyrics are they paint such a wonderful picture.
They they certainly do. So are the guys who play on the album, are they your touring band as well? Or do you use different
They were
musicians?
they were at the time, but I use different musicians today. Like I said, the record was recorded 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah.
A lot happens in 3 years. It's certainly a lot happened in my life in the last 3 years. The drummer on the record, Ray Hangen, is now playing with Albert Castiglia and plays with the Blood Brothers, and Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers, and I'm really happy for him. And the bass player Colin, I know he works on the road with some other artists right now, and that it was really like a great crew, you know. But yeah, that band, we played together for a while.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. So what's next for Gabe Stillman? What's
What's
next on the
next?
agenda?
Well, the record comes out officially at the end of March, but I'll be hitting the road here this week. I'm doing the Lancaster Roots and Blues Festival back in Pennsylvania this Saturday, and then I'm out on a week-long run. I'm hitting Massachusetts and Maine and upstate New York, doing like 6 or 7 shows, and the record will be for sale. I'm doing an album release party in my hometown for all my local fans and the folks who were there 11 years ago when I got
Cool.
started and have supported me ever since. And, everybody's going to get a copy of the record. You'll be able to buy a copy of the record at all of these shows. I'm just looking forward to a lot of great performances and being on the road as much as possible in 2026 and 2027. And, who knows? Maybe even another new record sometime in 2027.
That'd
That's what I'd like
yeah,
to see.
that'd be
Yeah,
cool. Is the album coming out on vinyl as well?
it is.
Cool.
It is.
Great.
That's something that Gulf Coast said they had the ability to do, and I had never done that before, and I'm like, "Let's go for it. Why not?"
Yeah.
You know?
Everything sounds better on vinyl.
Yeah.
I'm a huge collector of vinyl. Huge collector of vinyl.
Well, and not just the sound. I mean, for me too, I just really like, you know, to have it.
Yeah.
You know? And I it just makes the experience of listening to music, I think, so much more intimate, and you're holding this thing and, it's like just this physical experience that you don't get just by listening to music on Spotify or, Apple, however it is you
Don't get me started on that. And we do get a lot, it's the way of the world, and we do get a lot sent on downloads, and but then they'll just some people will just send me an album
Right.
with no information at all, and they go, "Do a review of this." Well, who's playing on it? Do you know what I mean? I don't see the point, and it sounds rubbish, and
Yeah, man, I'm such a nerd for all that stuff. Like,
yeah,
I wanna know who played drums on the thing.
exactly.
Wanna know who the co-writers were on stuff. I wanna know, it's always great, if, like, I find a vinyl that has, like, the original lyric sleeve on
Yeah,
the inside of
yeah,
it, man. It's like, all that stuff is wonderful,
yeah. It helps us as a writer to make a better review.
Yeah.
But it does because you've got all that information right in front of you. So hopefully that, we'll move back to that in the future. Any chance of you coming over to the UK or Europe?
I would love. I would I don't hey, man, I wanna be everywhere all the time. I
Yeah,
wanna play part of what I love about this job and being a musician, not only, am I in love with music, but I'm also in love with traveling and seeing the world, and I wanna see as much of it as I can while I'm here doing it.
good. Well, that
Yes.
that sounds hopeful then. Yeah,
Yeah, man. I really hope so. I'm excited to get over there for the first time.
great. Okay, Gabe, I will say goodbye to you now. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Once again, I
Thank you.
apologize for last night. One of them things, but thank you so much for spending time with
It's
me.
all good, man. Stuff happens, and I look forward to watching this and to
Yeah.
reading whatever it
It's
is you
gonna
guys
be in the
got.
next issue, it'll be in the March issue. I'm gonna send a text message now to Ollie Overton and say, "It all went well, it all went great, so we're
Cool,
all done." I
right on.
speak to Ollie
I'm
on a
also
regular basis.
I'm so glad that you like the record, man. It really means a lot.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I do, I do. Well, thank you very much once again. You have a good day.
You
Bye,
too,
Gabe.
brother. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.